y'all. My name is Legina Golden. Thank you for tuning into my channel. And before I start, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And okay, so as this video, or the title, as you can see in this video, that I will be discussing is the rising signs. And in this rising sign in particular, I'll be discussing the Scorpio. Why? Because I'm a Scorpio rising. Yeah, so if you guys don't know what rising is, it's basically what other people perceive you as. So you will have your own sun sign. So my sun sign is a Gemini, and my emotional moon sign, the way I go about, well, because I am a female, so I act like mine is an Aries moon, so I act like an Aries. But I look like, or sometimes my personality, my defensive mechanism, I act like a Scorpio. So it's basically what I really act like. I talk too much. And in my emotional state, I act like an Aries, but I look like a Scorpio. Or my trace is like one of that of a Scorpio. So, and for all my Scorpio rising babies, I know, like, you guys probably don't know that you might be one, but for the people that do know that you guys are one, we experience some intense shit. Is like, and it's more so. It depends if your moon and your sun sign, but for mine to not really act like a Scorpio and get the Scorpio intensity, it's one thing to be like, okay, I act like this because my emotional and my sun sign, my identity makes me like this. But for me to look like something that, like somebody like a Scorpio and be treated like one, it's like, I understand if I was acting like that. Well, we do act like it. That's your defense mechanism. Okay, so for having Scorpio in your first house, you are basically just, you will come off as intense. When you be around people, you might not notice that the presence that you give off to others is intense, because the first house deals with Aries. Aries deals with being what they stand for and what they are known for. They are the one that's the quick pace, the one Mars rules. Scorpios, and also Aries. So Aries is more just the identity, the self, the personality, the strength is have. It's what everybody perceives you as. It's the energy that you're giving off to people. And then the energy having a Scorpio in the first house is the energy we're giving off. We don't know that our self might, to some others, might just seem like a Scorpio way, because Scorpios have their own trait. They are known for being very secretive, calculative, manipulative, and that's more of just like a, I guess, good way to say it, but in a greater way, they are more spiritual, they are more woke, they are more astrology learners. That's why I think I'm starting to a lot of people like Scorpios for real. To why, though, it also depends on why. Because I'm logical about this thing. We don't really go around just like, oh, I like, it keeps our interest, but it's more like, you guys, Scorpios are the one that's want to know the hidden, the occult things. They are the one that's want to know everything that's like what everybody else in this world don't know. They probably are the one that go in a deep web, like the dark web. I try to do it. I downloaded it, and then it said the fast launch, and I'm like, I don't know. And then I heard some scary things about it. I'm like, yo, you're not about to kidnap me. You're not about to kidnap me. And maybe because our Gemini is on our 8th house, so we think about these things too, the way we communicate. The Gemini being our 8th house, we communicate very secretly too. So this is why people give us the energy that they label us. They label us as, you always probably hiding something, or you don't want to tell us like your deepest, darkest secret. It's like, no, I think we actually told you. You just don't. You think we're lying about it. That's our dealing with. Because having Gemini on the 8th house means we probably experienced something that's had like a intense gossip to you that was attached to you, and you don't knew about it, or you have been lied to a lot and stuff. So having that there could also place why the things you say might not seem truthful. It's just more of just you pick and choose what to say. It's not to be secretive. It's just really how you're raised in your identity that you give off. You can probably be the most expressive person, like a Cancer or Pisces, the other water signs, but you can be like that, but you probably still seem like you're carrying holding a secret. It's only because what you was raised as, because that's the houses play the role in how we all act in our own world. If you look in a natal chart and placement. So having the fourth house is our deals with our home life. The fourth house for me personally, I can understand why we don't. It might seem like we care like a Scorpio. They seem like very steady and stuff like that. And like it's the water sign, because of course they're gonna feel more emotional. And for us having our air sign in our emotional house of Cancer, where you're supposed to be nurtured, it wasn't like a nurtured surrounding for us. It was more very just like upheaval, abruptness. It was like Aquarius is like a detached. You can tell when people wanted to be with us, like in our home life. It wasn't. It was very detached. It was like abrupt. One day we can be here, and one day we can be gone. Like one day, I remember I went to literally three different middle schools in one grade in my 7th grade year. So it's like we can literally just be in one place and feeling this way one moment, and then all of a sudden we just gone and from a whole different, like I literally, and then like in that 7th grade year, that school, I remember just being in school, and one day was here, and then the next day we had to go to a different school just because of the our living situation, and it was more of we stated we had to go to school closer to the district, so it just more of just so. And before that, I already was living like different houses, so we probably did stay in some school for years, but it was different homes, like so that caused me to not be attached. And I feel like because that having that as your emotional upbringing where you're supposed to be nurtured from, it is more of just we didn't see that, so we didn't learn that, so we learned to be too detached. And we also, because our living situation was odd and very different, we don't really go around trying to judge people for living their way differently. So which is kind of just hurt us more, not knowing that the Scorpio rising, that's very intense for us, how people perceive us, like we judging people or we secretly mocking or doing something. We was like, no, we don't judge, we don't care, and we don't have that emotional ability to just really be intrigued and hone into it and like, yeah, I care because my emotions in it. It's more like, okay, it's an air sign and it's Aquarius air sign, so out of all of them, they really all the air sign, they the detached one. They don't fuck with nobody for real. So having that, you probably feel like a lot of people don't really understand you. You probably feel like nobody understand the core of you. This is how you emotionally was brought up to feel like you detached, or you probably move around a lot of people that was in your life at one moment and then they was gone, and you can either be emotional about it or you can just learn what we learned from being an error. Just okay, I'm fine whether you're in my life or not, and I can't really control you, but if you're in my life, then that's good. It means you actually, because we also have a Taurus in our 7th house, how we deal with our relationship. So it's like we value somebody that's going to be different from how we was raised. We value somebody that's going to pop up, or that's going to be like there in our eyes and our constant peripheral visions. It's like we have to know that you still there, because we grew up more of just being detached. So when you leave, you leave. When you hear. So it's just more of just oddness. It's we don't judge a lot of people for that, because we have to understand if they don't come in our life, then maybe they're going through like a certain situation. If they still in our life, then that's showing us something that we didn't have when we lacked it, because we secretly want somebody that's gonna be steady and very predictable. I want to know if you're in the same place at the same time. Like that's how Taurus feel. It's the Taurus more of earthbound. It's more of just practical everything, like day to day, like nights and day to night. Like we want to know, like have somebody that's gonna be the same way, and we probably want that the most. So it's not really more of like a material thing. We want to know that you're capable of providing for yourself and all that stuff, because despite all that growing up, that's how we wasn't like. And then having a Scorpio rising, being a Scorpio rising, it's not about material things. It's just more of, well, it depends on your sun and moon sign, but it's not about that. But we do value somebody that's going to be very practical. That's probably might have a 9 to 5 or just have like something that's consistent. Even it is probably not even material wise. Somebody that's gonna just do a routine, but you're more steady too. And then having Taurus, Venus, Taurus in our 7th house, we value people that's gonna push themselves and have that slow, steady vibe that's gonna be here and then prove that, okay, you lasted 1 year, you lasted 2 years, okay, you still here. We still have the steady relationship versus what it was from our upbringing, because we had probably like a lot of friends, a lot of people that took our mother figure role, and it made us to like appreciate them while they was here. But if they no longer here, we just have to deal with it. We accept that, because at the end of the day, this is our feeling. We deal with what we was raised to deal with it. Very odd. It wasn't like it was a Scorpio in the 4th house where it might be like intense and fucked up shit. It's just more of just, okay, it's odd. It's my life, so that's what I'm gonna do with my emotions. So having Taurus, and so you want somebody that's committed, that's gonna be loyal to you. You might just be possessive of your people that you're friends with. It depends on how you really vibe out. You might want people to be fair. So if it's a Libra rules that sign still is known for being fair and dividing, and you might give out practical things in your relationship. You might texting and all that stuff. That's being practical, because for the way we grew up doing that, it's not really like in the beginning of our mind. So for us to actually just sit there and have a routine, a steady, consistent routine with a relationship we have with people and checking up, that actually means a big deal to us, because growing up it was the Aquarius, it was technology though. So of course we're not gonna really always have technology in our life. So we want something that's gonna be more than that. It's more of just practical. We want to be able to see you in our lives for that reason. And also means that you guys know a lot of people that probably cook, or you probably know how to cook, or you just value something that's Taurus field, the art, the commitment, like being commitment and being seeing somebody. That's a big thing for us, like, because we don't see a lot of people, or we didn't grow up to see a lot of people constantly in our lives. So the fact that we might see you every day, and that's not what we used to, and then we might just feel like we have to be detaching one leg out the one door, the window, whatever. That's what we probably got. We was forced to live with that. That was our nurturing bond to one day to enjoy the moment while it's here, and then enjoy it even if the memories don't last and it don't. But we value people that's gonna be stubborn as fuck in our life. That's gonna be there. Like, no, I'm not going nowhere. I'm loyal, like, to the point. We like that because we liked it that. And then having Scorpio rising, our identity, we continuously changing and evolving too, in our emotional state and even our way we look and act. That's our defense mechanism. We're gonna keep looking different and keep transmuting energies around, because that's what we take as a Scorpio rising. And then we go back to our 10th house, or go up to our 10th house, it's the Leo, or if you flip it down, it's actually backwards. Well, let me start randomly, my Gemini side. Having Leo as a 10th house is basically what your career is, and as a young one, you don't really have a career, so it might actually be how you was noticed at school, or the environment that you play around. It's something that you had a routine and that you was known, and that might develop you towards the way your work ethic growing up. So having Leo there, you want people to notice your career. You want people to notice you, not from how people perceive you as, from how you work as. You might be, so let's say if you was an actress as a Scorpio rising, you want to play into the role of being a Leo actress, more of So you want the people to watch your films or your TV show, or you on stage, you want people to pay attention to that. You don't want people to know your home life situation. You don't want people to know your personal life situation. You don't want people to know who you care for too, because Taurus, with your relationship, you possess with them, so you kind of not really want to share. You got Scorpio rising. Your personality, your defense mechanism, you're going to be more secretive anyway. And then having Gemini in your 8th house, you make you more just, your mind be more of a scorpionic feel. And then you have, like, a career is detached. It's like you're not trying to, you just want people to focus on your career and what it is that you're known for. So if it is for like Instagram, you want people to know for your Instagram ways, Instagram modeling, or social media, socialites, or whatever it is. Or if you're a doctor, like, you want somebody to know you for your doctor, not the way that you might come off. Because having Leo in your 10th house, people will automatically will try to look at you in a certain light and give you attention, whether it's good or bad attention. You're going to get that from them. And it means people are going to remember you. So don't be surprised with that Scorpio energy. If it's rub people the wrong way, then they might remember you very, like, negative in their head. Because we as a Scorpio rising, we probably was secretive. We probably just was like distant, or might just make it seem like we was just trying to pick at you when it's really not. We just seem that way. Because every Scorpio rising, I believe Jim Carrey, he might be one. He don't look like, maybe because I'm a Scorpio rising, I can probably see him for what he is. He don't look bad, but people do a look intense. And it don't mean that you're always going to be quiet. You might be the loudest one, but it's still going to be a presence about you, like, very intense to other people. It's going to rub people the wrong way. So it's not like people out to get you. It's not. Growing up, if I look back at my baby picture, I always assumed that I was like a kid that always smiled and stuff. And then I look back and I'm like, yo, I was kind of scary. My eyes looked like, I was like the Children of the Corn, you know, that scary movie with them kids that was trying to kill people. And then I looked like that. No wonder people would just like looked like I was getting blamed for them. I couldn't stop the way people looked at me. I can't just change the way I was looking. Like, I'm probably now I can probably do that if I want to, but back then I'm like, no, you can't. I can't help that. I was quiet. I might seem quiet or something like that. We might bring out the worst fears in other. We might bring out the best fears in other. It's just an intense emotional thing. And people gonna blame you for a lot of things that you have nothing to do with. It's just having that Leo 10th house, your reputation, the house, people in your career house. You're gonna get attention for something that, whether it's good or bad, you're just gonna get attention. So if your period look like you're in one way, then that's how people are gonna see you. And whether it's good or bad, so you could literally just not be doing anything. They might think because you're not trying to be foretelling of what you're saying, because Gemini is in your communication sign is in a Scorpio, so it's more of being secretive. You're not gonna act the normal way of that. If it was placed in the 4th house, you're not gonna be acting like a Gemini in the 4th house. Always talking about you want to be mama and career and your home life and the affection. You're not always gonna be talking about. You're gonna talk about either astrology like I am, or intense shit, or you might be like very just intense as a Gemini, and just like it's gonna be like more of just like intense intellectual capacity versus just being like emotional capacity. It's just gonna be intellectually very extremely. And then if I say let's say 11th house is the Virgo house, you're gonna always feel like you have to help all your friends, or you're gonna feel like you attract friends that need your help. And depends on what else, if you have any planets in that, so it depends. So you're gonna feel like you was a service, or you feel like your friends might view you as judgmental, or somebody that's secretly judging them and just like, no, I'm not. It's just the way your reputation is, how the houses fall in line. and it's how people are setting up for it. So I'm gonna be talking about more of this, and being Scorpio rising is like very intense, like very intense. And I feel sorry for us, but we came here to accept the opinions of other people and let them, if they want to base a book off a cover, then that's what they're doing with us. Versus, because if you look in the different planets and, well, different houses that the zodiac signs fall on lines, where you can say like, oh yeah, from each houses that we played along, this is why we get this appearances. This is why this is our defense mechanism for certain of us. And but like the cusp might be different. So like for my 5th house, I also have Pisces in my 5th house, but it's also seem like it's core ruled with Aries, so I can be very like non-existent with my romance life, or if I do, it just go extra bored. It's like I don't even need to party after that no more. That's how the cups difference would do. And then if you have the planets in it, it will also affect that in it too. So it's alright, Scorpios. It's alright, Scorpio rising. Let people think what they want to think, because that's what they're doing anyway. They're just pulling from an emotional vibe that they see you with, or the energy that you don't know that you're giving off. So if you being sneaky, it's because they being sneaky themselves. If you're being opening, they're probably being opening, or your sun or moon is finally pushing through that secretive, that robe wave. It's like Harry Potter. If you look in the when they put the cloak in, you might not know it's like a whole human behind her, but if whatever people see at that moment is whatever you want other people to see. It's that vibe, that intensity, that extra shit. So out of all the zodiac signs, for having that as a writing, you're gonna get the extra intense things versus probably a Pisces or Pisces rising or a Sagittarius rising. So, and they say we known for being sexy. I guess I can kind of see it. It just the appeal there. It just what other people value, like the sun and moon sign or other strong Scorpio placement of being sexy. But this is the physical appearance of what people see us as. Like I was trying to say, well, in this video, I don't want to be too long, and I'm gonna discuss more as I get along in this YouTube. I've been really busy, like trying to, and I have Virgo Mars, so I'm like trying to make everything detailed and worked out, and it's more tie every loose strings, and every I's dotted and T's crossed. That's not on, and it might be slow, but it might be just fast because I do get it done. So I hope you guys like it, and the Scorpio rising. I'm gonna tell a story about my experience is dealing with being a Scorpio rising, so it's gonna be intense. So I hope you guys like it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye.